Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. This is a great time of year. You've been growing transplants indoors 6 weeks, 8 weeks, even 10 weeks. We're really excited to get them outside, but there are 4 things that you can do wrong that may jeopardize your transplants. They may not thrive, they're not going to do well. In some cases, they may even die. So let's go over these 4 things, mistakes that people make pretty regularly, especially when you're a new gardener, and ways that you can fix them. Check out the timestamps to jump to the information you're most interested in. First mistake people make, if you're starting plants indoors, when they first germinate, break the surface, they think they're outside. The leaves have protection against the UV rays of the sun. They are ready to learn about the temperature changes, cold, warm fluctuations. They're going to strengthen themselves against wind because they believe they're outside. But once they're growing indoors for a couple of weeks, they lose the ability to protect themselves from the UV rays of the sun. They're not used to temperature fluctuations. They're not strong enough to really manage high winds. And if you went and planted them straight into the garden, it's a sunny day like today, it's going to be 70 degrees. A full day of sun is going to burn and damage the leaves of your plant, may even kill the plant. So you have to slowly acclimate any of your new transplants to the outdoors. Now, there's not an exact recipe, so to speak, because it varies, but you want to put these out slowly over about a week's time, maybe 10 days. If it's cloudy, they can stay out longer. If you have really intense sun where you are, put them on the northeast side of the house, let them get morning sun. But essentially, you want to expose them slowly to the outdoors. 30 minutes, 45 minutes for the first day or two, an hour, hour and a half, days 3 and 4, and then slowly increase the time. This way, the leaves, most importantly, get used to the sun. Sun is what they need, but sun is what will also kill your new transplants that you've been growing indoors. I take mine outside to the greenhouse. There is some UV protection on the glass here, but I just leave them out here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they harden off and they're ready to go into the garden. The other thing to also keep in mind is you have cool weather crops. They can take a frost and a freeze. You have warm weather crops that can't take a frost or freeze. So the pepper stain here, they're protected. I had to move in a bunch of plants over the last 3 days. That's why they're just kind of laying around. These are annual flowers that if the frost gets them, they're really fragile, they die back, and they're dead. So you have to also pay attention to the frost that's in your area, because we often want to put our plants out a little bit early, or we get a late frost. So check the weather, and if the temperatures are going to get really in the upper 30s, I consider that a frost risk, because here in Maryland where I live, if the nighttime temperature is supposed to be 37 degrees, very easily where I am, it can drop another 4 degrees, and that takes you down to that freezing point. So you want to pay attention to that. So acclimate your plants, pay attention to frost. That's tip number 1. The second tip has to do with understanding the root system of your transplants and watering. And I think this is the most important one. So maybe you're growing your transplants indoors, maybe you're growing them outdoors. They're acclimated, they're ready to go into the ground, and you're growing your plants in different size containers. Maybe you're growing in these 2.5-inch pots. I sell all this stuff at my seed and garden shop too if you need some supplies. The Georgia collards here are only going to have a root system that expand the size of the container, and that's true for any plant. I'm growing different leafy greens here, endive and lettuces, in these 4 cells, and they're doing pretty good. They're ready to go. They can go into the garden now. The root ball for the endive plant is only, again, this size. This is where all the moisture and all the fertilizer nutrients is held initially with this plant. We're going to go out into the garden, and I'm going to show you how to set up the planting hole and take care of these problems we're talking about. Here's a pepper plant. Again, root ball is going to be the size of this 2.5-inch cup. And then I'm also growing things in plugs. These are leeks, and the root system of onions and leeks are just really strong. So I grow them in smaller cells because they can really take abuse and get beat up. Some endive seeds fell into this tray, and you can see that the root ball for the endive and the leeks are going to be really small. All the plants only have root systems that are effective to the size of the container. And that's really important because when you go and put these into the garden, and again, it's a warm day like today, it's going to be up in the 70s, the sun is beating down on them, the plants are doing what they're supposed to do, they're going to very quickly use up the moisture in the root ball. The roots have not spread out to the rest of the garden where they can access nutrients and water. Therefore, your plant ends up dehydrating basically, and it dies. Let's go talk more about that in the garden and understanding the roots. Here's a quick look of what Sunscald can look like. The leaf gets bleached by the sun. This plant has been out here for a while, so it was acclimated. But we had a stupidly hot day a couple days ago, and the sun beating down did damage the leaf. So you get this fading, it looks like the leaf gets bleached. This plant's gonna survive fine because it was kind of toughened up already. But putting out that transplant without any kind of acclimation, that sun that damaged this leaf, this plant again will survive, will kill your transplant. It's just going to burn all the leaves, it's gonna burn the stem of your plant, it's not gonna recover, and you're gonna lose your plant. So make sure you do acclimate your plants to the outdoors. You don't want this to happen to your transplants, obviously. This plant is completely dehydrated, full sunny day, small root ball. Let's step back a minute and talk a little bit about the root system. And this is really, I guess tip 2 and 3. Your root system of the plant is small, like I was just showing you. So this is a prepared raised bed. I wanted to grow collards in here right now. Eventually they'll be protected by some sort of cover crop. They're not gonna be heating up as much when the summer comes, and they're gonna do a little bit better. That will be a future video. However, even with all this prepped bed, moisture in there, moisture in there, moisture between them, moisture over there, food and fertilizer around. When you first put in the transplant, and this is a little prop plant that I'm using to show off what goes on, the root ball is completely dried out. It just dried out that quickly. Roots have not expanded outwardly, getting into the soil, and they're not going down. That's perfectly normal for that first week. So the first week of putting a transplant in, they're just kind of recovering from transplant shock. The roots are just kind of getting set up, and they're not really going beyond the root ball here. So as soon as it gets hot, the plant starts doing what it does. It uses up all the water in here. It doesn't matter how much moisture is around the plant. So the first week, let's say 5-7 days, something like that, the plant's sort of just sitting there. So you really do want to water these plants right at the base almost every day. If you have a little bit cooler temperatures, that's fine, maybe every other day. But don't forget, to water them. Don't just assume it rained and the garden is soaked, because it can only get the water, again, I'm going to stress it, out of the root ball. And that's something that a lot of people don't know initially when they start gardening. The second week, days 7 to 14, they start sending out roots to the side, to depth. They start pulling in the water from around, the planting area. You can go to watering every second day, every third day at that point, depending on, what's going on with your temperatures. Again, if you're not sure, water every day, every other day. When you're into that third week, the roots really start growing well. The plant is ready to kind of be left alone. You're gonna have to water maybe 2 times, 3 times a week, depending on the temperatures. But you get the idea. You have to really take care of your transplants for a good 2 to 3 weeks until the root system's established and set up. Not doing that, can lead to your plants getting killed off. The same principle affects nutrients. You want your plants to take off and grow. Small root systems don't have access to maybe all the compost and amendments that you put in here because the roots, again, haven't grown. They're not accessing the nutrients. So you definitely want to use a water-soluble fertilizer with your transplants. Water-soluble means the fertilizer nutrients, the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, can be immediately pulled in with the water, and it will feed the plant. That will help them thrive and get off to a great start. Using the water-soluble at planting, a light dosing even a week later, a light dosing even 2 weeks later, really ensures that your transplants have the nutrients where the roots are, and it's going to help them grow develop roots better and also help them grow, in this case of the lettuces, grow the leafy green. As the plant gets bigger and it spreads the roots out throughout the growing area, it's going to access all the other nutrients that you already have in the soil. So make sure you feed the plants a water-soluble fertilizer at least at planting. You don't have to really, if you don't want to do this every week, low dose, you don't have to do that. But it does help depending on what the plant is. So you really want your plants to thrive. Without the water, they're going to die off. Without the initial water-soluble fertilizer, I think at planting, they may not grow as quickly as you want them to grow. Why not give them a boost, get them off to a great start? Another tip is understanding what your vegetable plants, your crops really enjoy with respect to temperature. The root system dictates the growth. The soil temperature dictates whether or not the root system grows. What do I mean by that? These are cool weather crops. They really do well when soil temperatures are above 45 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll put the conversion on the screen, and into the 60s temperature wise. That warmth gets these cool weather crops stimulated root wise. The roots grow, they do their thing, you get all this beautiful growth. And they go out first. The leaves can take a frost, they can take a freeze. This is celery, we got some endive, different varieties, spinach, some bib lettuce, mustard greens back there. All cool weather crops, and they've been out here for a couple of weeks being cared for, as I've been, talking to you about. If I were to put in the warm weather crops, which are damaged by frost and prefer soil temperature that's above that first couple of inches, 2 inches, 4 inches, 5, 10 centimeters, above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't put your tomato plants, your pepper plants, your squash, your zucchini into soil that's warm, they just sit there and freeze. So I can get my tomato plants out early, protect them from the frost, but they're literally going to shiver. They're going to turn maybe a darker green, have a purple color to them. They're not going to grow. They're not going to thrive. They're just going to sit here for weeks until that soil temperature warms up, gives the roots a signal to start growing, become active, start pulling in nutrients. That's when the tomato takes off. So by putting out your transplants at the wrong time, too early, in the case of warm weather crops, they're not going to thrive, they're not going to grow, and you got to do a lot of work to protect them. Putting your cool weather crops out too late in the season, when the soil temperatures are getting into the 60s and 70s, is going to really cause them to bolt. They're going to want to send up flower stalks and produce seed. So warm soil in your cool weather crops just leads to not really nice plants. They don't want to leaf out anymore. They're not creating what you want. You don't get a nice head of lettuce. Your broccoli begins to flower. The warmth of the soil changes how your leafy greens and other cool weather crops grow. So all they want to do is create a flower and produce seed. So you have to get the cool weather crops into the ground as transplants when the soil temperature is nice and cool, and it's going to stay cool for the whole growing period. This is spinach, and this is an example of bolting. You can see that the flower head is forming and it's just not developing big leaves. It's just going to stop doing that. Soil temperature is warming up, but the other mistake people make is they keep their transplants in those small containers far too long. Like spinach, it really only wants to be in that container 4 to 6 weeks, including a week acclimation period in between there. If you grow it too long, if you're getting it into the 7th, 8th week in a small container, it gets root bound, it thinks it's been growing for a long time, it thinks it's a big plant, and it very often bolts more quickly. So keeping your transplants in small containers for a period longer than they really should be in there is going to cause a problem. Now, I can't give you the exact time because it varies. Like cucumbers and squash, I like to be in a container maybe 4 weeks and get them into the ground. Tomatoes nowadays, 6 weeks. Peppers, 8 to 10 weeks. So you have to do a little bit of research and understand, what's needed for each of the vegetable plants that you're growing in the containers. Smaller container means you have less time. Once those roots start getting bound, signals start going to the plant and usually because they're stressed, is to produce seed, do something to kind of prolong life. So you just don't want your transplants staying in the containers longer than they need to. If you have limited space or you want to grow vertically, I recommend checking out GreenStalkGarden.com. I am affiliated with them. I've been growing in their vertical planters for probably 10 years now, maybe even 11 years. And you can see how beautifully all the leafy greens, the cool weather crops doing there. It's a watering day, even though these are well established, still keep in mind how quickly transplants dry out, and keep the water, going to them for a really good 2 to 3 weeks. I can't stress that the most. The watering is the #1 issue, because without water, plant obviously dies. Without water, it can't pull in nutrients. So water those transplants regularly, and you'll have a much better experience, and your transplants are going to thrive. If you want to find more out about these planters, check out the video description. Just want to give you a quick tip on setting up the planting hole for any transplant. And please subscribe and follow me. I have over 2,000 garden videos. And I have a lot of videos specifically on the planting hole. Just keyword search that. It'll vary a little bit than what I'm showing you, but the principles are the same. So this space has been set up. It had compost put in the fall, some organic granular fertilizer. So I know that there's plenty of nutrients in there. When you dig the hole, this is, very earthy. Not a lot of compost in there yet, even though there's some in there. Not a lot of peat moss. So this is going to dry out pretty quickly. It drains really well. Into the planting hole, if you have some organic granular fertilizer, maybe a tablespoon could go right into here. Mix it in depth if you want. Put in a handful of compost if you want more. But more importantly, I use peat moss. Peat moss really holds water. It doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it. And you want to mix that into the area. A couple handfuls, something like that. And just mix it through. By doing that, you're going to be retaining more water in this area, and if you want, even a little bit more. So that when you set up and drop in the transplant, even though the root ball, like I've been saying, is going to dry out more quickly, the peat moss will help wick water from around it to this plant. So as the roots are starting to come out, it's going to have, technically a better supply of water, because the peat moss is holding water, the roots will get to it, and that's just going to help it as it grows out of that first week of, some root shock, second week of growing, and third week of really just thriving with the root system. But that's all I really do. Next step, I'm not going to show it in this video because I think everybody understands it. I would just water it in right on top, soak in this whole area, keep the water coming for that 2 to 3 week period. So to recap, it's really important. 1, acclimate your plants to the outdoors. Make sure you water them. Pay attention to the size of the root ball. Fertilize them with a water-soluble fertilizer so they can get early nutrients right away and use them. Make sure you plant them into the right temperatures, meaning cool weather crops into cooler soil, warm weather crops into warmer soil. And finally, setting up the planting hole with a little bit of peat moss will help the plants out as they develop roots over that 2-3 week period. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell tomato and pepper seeds, $1.75 a pack. All other seeds are only $1.50. And again, thanks so much for watching.